Okay, welcome to Daily 3D Revolve. Today I'm going to be doing a Design Spark mechanical tutorial, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a simple beer coaster and how to apply a logo to it. So we're going to be basically using three programs. We're going to use Corel Draw to create the logo. We're going to use a program called FreeCAD to save out the file, and then we're going to be using Design Spark mechanical to do our actual coaster. Okay, so we're going to go in New Design. Let's go with this. Click the eye icon there to go to Plan View. So typically I like to make the beer coasters between 80 millimeters and 100 millimeters. So probably would be a good idea to do them at 100. That way they're not too small. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a 100 millimeter circle first. Then we're going to go to 3D mode, so click there. And we're going to spin this a little bit. And then as far as thickness goes, it's up to your own preference. I would say maybe 15 millimeters thick. So type in 1.5. Normally I put a fillet around the edge of these, so we'll go pull and we'll place a fillet around there. Actually undo. Let's click on that circle and pull, and maybe put a I would say let's undo that. Let's click right on the line there and just do 4 now that we have an idea. Actually 4 is a little much. Go 3. Okay, 3 millimeters. Now there's a couple of things you can do. If you want your coaster to be heavy, you can of course leave it like a solid puck like this. And if you want it to be a little lighter, you go ahead and use the shell command, 1 millimeter shell. Or you could go change it and put it into, it's a little thicker. Now you have a shelled logo, but you need to be careful with that, because what we're going to do is we're going to put a logo on here. So you're not going to have much room to cut, so you'll have to end up pulling this a little bit deeper. So for right now, we'll go ahead and keep this a solid puck. Okay, so we're going to go up here and save this. This is going to be a 3-step tutorial. So we'll go ahead and go save, and then we'll save this as beer coaster. And we'll put it on the desktop. So I usually typically save the native Design Spark mechanical file, and then I'll do a save as later, save it as the STL file. So now we're going to go ahead and minimize. Now I'm going to show you what I normally do to get a logo. Is I'll just open up the browser, and then I'll do a search. Like, let's try, like, maybe we'll do something with Star Wars. So I'll do Star Wars logos. Now you want to be careful with anything that's got a logo on it. It's okay for tutorial purposes, but you don't want to be creating anything that has a logo on it and trying to sell it, because you could actually get burned for that. These are all copy protected. They take that pretty seriously. So it's okay though. Here I'm just using it for demonstration purposes and not creating these to sell them. Okay, so we're going to go to a page here like this, and then we'll scroll down until we find something that we like for a coaster. Now you don't want to have anything that has too much detail on it for a coaster, because you're going to have when you put the beer down, you're going to have places that are going to get caught in there, and they might get caught in if you sink the artwork in, and they might tip over. So you probably get away with something like this. This is the Rebel Alliance logo, or maybe even something smaller like this. This you could be able to put your beer on here. You're not going to have any problems. So let's do the New Republic one. So what I'll do from here is I'll go on my keyboard. There's a Windows symbol right next to your Alt key. You want to hold that down. Hold your Shift key down and S as in Sam at the same time. So Windows symbol S, Shift S, and then you get this window. And then you're going to do drag a little marquee around the Rebel Alliance logo. Okay, it's going to create a snippet, what they call a snippet. Now you're going to open up your Paint. You're going to go ahead and open up Paint if you're working on PC, and then you're going to click right there in the square and then you're going to do Control V as in Victor, which is paste, and then you're going to go ahead and hit this crop. Okay, now we're going to do File Save As. You're going to save it as a JPEG. And you can just call it Untitled. It doesn't have to have a specific name. So we'll go ahead and hit Save. Then we're going to close it. And then we'll close this up. Now we're going to open up CorelDRAW. Hopefully everyone that's watching the tutorial has CorelDRAW or a similar trace program. Okay, what we're going to do here is once it opens, we're going to go File, New. And then I have it set up for 4 inches by 4 inches, and that's fine. We'll just go OK. And then we're going to go ahead and go to File, and we're going to import. Then we're going to import this Rebel Alliance logo. Click there. Now we need to make it the same size as the our beer coaster. So to do that, right now Corel is set up in inches. So we want to go ahead and right mouse click on the ruler, go to Ruler Setup, and then we want to come over here in the middle under Rulers on this tab here. Go all the way down to Rulers if it's not already on there. Then you go to the horizontal, go to this tab, click, and then you want to move down to millimeters, and then you're going to select OK. So now we're going to go ahead and draw a 100 millimeter circle here. So hold down, actually undo that, click in the middle here, hold down Control and Shift at the same time when you click, and drag out. And then up here we want to highlight this and type 100, and then hit Tab to go down to the lower window, type 100, enter. Okay, so this is going to give us an idea of how big our circle is. And we want to allow some room for the fillet that we put in there. So we'll go ahead and a good shortcut in CorelDRAW is if you want something to be right in the center of the page, you hit P, and then select the item you want in the center and hit P on your keyboard. It'll put it right in the middle. So this could be a little bit bigger, so we're going to go ahead and let's drag a marquee around this. Okay, now we're going to scale this up. We're going to click on that corner and hold down the Shift key, and come up to about there, and then hit P again. Okay, so we're gonna create this. This looks pretty good right here. So we're gonna right mouse click on this. We're gonna go down to actually I'm not on. Let's get rid of this circle. Delete. Okay, we're gonna right mouse click on this art. We're gonna go to Outline Trace, and then we're gonna select Detail Logo. Okay, now it's gonna take a second, and then we're gonna hit OK. Now we're gonna click and drag this out of the way. This is going to be what you would call a vector art. It's no longer a raster file. It's made up of mathematical calculations and lines. So this type of art you could scale up as big as you want, and you're not going to get any jaggies. Like you can see here that this is jaggedy. This is this is a vector file, so this is going to be smooth no matter how large you make it. So we'll go ahead and hit delete there. Now we're going to do select all. We drag this to the middle, and some of the stuff we want to get rid of, and some we want to keep. So we're going to go back to normal. I don't want to keep this, so we have to ungroup this. So right now, click on it, do a Control U on the keyboard. That ungroups everything, and now you'll be able to delete what you want to delete. So we'll go File here, View. Now what we have to do is reverse this art, because I didn't realize that this is actually a negative. Well, I did realize, I just didn't put too much thought into it. This is the opposite of what we need. So what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to set this right here is your nudge offset. So I'm going to set it to a distance of 2 inches. Okay, now we're going to move this stuff. So we'll move this out. Well, let's go more than that. Let's move it to a distance of, oh, this isn't, we're in millimeters. So we're going to move it to a distance of 100 millimeters. So we're going to click here, do one move out of the way, and then, or click with your arrow, and you're going to move that out of the way. And then we want to, let's move that out of the way to the right with the nudge arrow. Okay, now we're going to go to View, Normal. We want this to be black, so we're going to go ahead and fill it with black. We're going to make sure that there's no outline, and to do that, right mouse click on that box with X in it. Okay, so now this is how we need it to be. So now we're going to drag a marquee around all this stuff. and we're going to fill it with black. And then we're going to make sure there's no outline on it. Right mouse click. Now we're going to put this back in the middle there. Okay, so this is the Rebel Alliance logo that we're going to need to do our artwork with. This is the reverse of that, so we don't need that. So now that we created this, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. So just drag a marquee around it and hit delete. So now we're going to go to View Wireframe. Let's do Control plus to zoom in, and then use these little slider bars to move around. So we want to make sure that none of this stuff has multiple. Should be good. Just want to check. To do that, you move something and then check to see, make sure there's nothing underneath. Hit undo. Make sure that's good. Okay, this looks pretty good. So we're going to Control minus, go back to View from Normal. Now we're going to select this. This is going to be what we're going to put on our coaster. So we're going to select that. We know that it's the right size. So now we're going to go Export. And we want to select SVG, which is a scalable vector graphic. And then we just want to give this a name so we know what it is. Logo. You want to save it on the desktop and hit Export. And then go ahead and just click. You don't have to worry about changing any of that. Just go ahead and click OK. Now we're going to minimize this. Now we want to open up FreeCAD. If you don't already have this program, it's a free program. It's really good. It's a great program. It has a steep learning curve on it. If you want to learn how to create parts with it, it's an entirely different program. It works a lot differently than most of the CAD programs do. But I just use it for saving out file formats. So I'll go create new, and then we'll drag the logo into here. You want to make sure to check that SVGH geometry. It's important, and select. Then your logo will come in like this. Now you want to do Control A on the keyboard. A is an Aaron. And you want to make sure everything's selected, and you know that you have all the paths over here. Now you want to come up here to File. We want to do Export. And then we want to make sure that it's on a step with colors step. So we just call this Logo New, so we know which file it is. We'll click Desktop, and we'll say Save. Okay, and now we want to make sure to close this up. We don't need it, and you can discard changes. Okay, now we're going to open up our Design Spark Mechanical file that we created, and then we're going to click here. Oh, actually, I don't want to show that. Undo. Let's go select. Let's click this face here. We'll go to Plan View, straighten it out. Now we want to go to File, click on File. We want to change the file types here, so click here and scroll down to Step. Okay, so now we see our logo new there. We want to double click on that. We want to click OK. Now there's one thing we have to do with the file before we can put it on there. We have to click the red, move it out of the way, then do Control minus. Okay, we're going to have to drag a marquee around this right here, all of it. Then come up here and hit fill. So we have to make this stuff solid. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and just select everything. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We don't need that in there. This is all we really need. So we're going to work with that. So we'll go ahead and select everything. And we're going to go to Move. Then we're going to grab the red arrow. We're going to move it so it lines up with the arrow on the coaster. Then we want to grab the green arrow, move it up so everything lines up in the center there as best that you can. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and spin this. Now we go to pull. And we're going to pull this in, so we're going to come over here and hit cut. And then we're going to click and drag inside the puck. Give it a minute to do what it has to do because it's dealing with a lot of geometry there. All right, so I did this at 6.11 millimeters, so we'll go ahead and spin that. Make sure that that's good. Make sure it didn't go through the other side. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and select the click off. Let's spin this. Click spin. Okay, this is going to be our coaster. Now what we need to do is go ahead and get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. Or you can come up here, right mouse click, and just say delete. Okay, now we go Control plus to zoom in. And now we can just individually decide if this logo is too deep, and then we could fix it. So I think it's too deep, so what I'm going to do is click there, and we're going to go pull, and then we're going to pull this up. I don't want it too deep. Let's pull it up like 2.77. Okay, now each one of these I got to pull up. Let's undo that. Let's go 2.77. We'll pull that one up, and then we'll do the same on these. 2.77. 2.77. And then just work your way around 2.77. And then we'll pan over. Sometimes it's better to adjust this stuff after the fact, because initially when you're trying to sync this artwork in, Design Spark Mechanical is dealing with a lot of stuff, so it could be very slow, and then sometimes you're not going to get it precisely where you want it. And then also, if you have a complex artwork, it could crash. I've had Design Spark Mechanical crash on me on several occasions, so now I know that when I do want to sync this artwork into a beer coaster, I'll do it initially, and then if it's too deep or not deep enough, I'll come back like I'm doing here, and I'll do individual pieces. That's just it's not so much of an overload. And then we'll go 2.77 on this one. Okay, now you're good. And then sometimes you can add fillets to this stuff. Sometimes it's you might have trouble. 0.65 looks like it's good. And then you got to do all of these too. Oh, 0.65. Go ahead and do that one. Oh, looks like I didn't get this. 0.65. Okay, yeah, and then if it's not gonna, sometimes stuff that comes in from Corel Draw, it's kind of temperamental. Sometimes the stuff works, sometimes it doesn't work. Normally, if it doesn't work, what I'll do is I'll try. We'll do individual lines at first, so I'll go to pull here, and we'll do 2 point, or actually, I think it was 0.65. Yeah, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just undo it, and I won't do any of them. Yeah, so you can't get it to work. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It all depends. And if that's the case, then I'll just do quick undos. And I'll get back to that. And if you really want to add fillets to this stuff, then it's probably best to draw it in Design Spark Mechanical. It's not that difficult to draw. You could draw half of this side here, put a line from here to here, create a mirror line out of that, and then you just have to draw half of this shape. You're going to get the shape over here, and then you only have to draw one of these stars, and then you could just rotate it, change the anchor point to center here, and then just create a pattern out of it. And then it's going to be a lot easier for you to add your fillets. But normally, with something as simple as a beer coaster, I don't normally worry about adding fillets to it. I mean, I might add a fillet here and here, but I'm not really going to worry about adding the fillets. I mean, if it works, I mean, if I could add one to here, I would. Let's just do one. Let's do one there. And then if I can add a fillet here, I probably would. Okay, that's not going to let me. Undo. Let's try this manually. Yeah, sometimes it'll let you, sometimes it won't. If it doesn't, like I said, don't worry about it. Just if it's a simple logo like this, you could there's two options. You could either create it in Design Spark Mechanical or don't add fillets to it. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and spin that. That doesn't look too bad. That's just a regular basic coaster. And then you could shell this if you wanted to, if you don't want it to be too heavy. Go ahead and shell. Make your shell pretty thick, like 3. And then see what it looks like. Okay, I was unable to shell. It looks like maybe, let's try 2 and see if that will do anything for us. Yeah, I don't think it's going to shell it because there's geometry up here. Okay, not a problem. If you really wanted to shell this, you could just create a circle there and sink it in. But we don't need to. I mean, most coasters are flat like this so they can slide. If you put a shell in there, it might hang up on something. Okay, so this is going to be our Star Wars beer coaster. We'll go ahead and go view that from the top. We used 3 programs to create this. We went ahead and found a logo on the internet that we liked. We brought that logo into CorelDRAW. We went ahead and did a detailed logo trace. We made sure that it was 100 millimeters in size or close to that, so it would fit on our beer coaster. Created the basic shape in Design Spark Mechanical. Then we created an SVG file in CorelDRAW. We brought that SVG file into FreeCAD, and then we selected everything and we exported it out of FreeCAD as a step file. And then when we clicked over here on the file and we imported it into Design Spark Mechanical, then we selected everything by dragging a marquee around it. We filled it, and then we went ahead and got rid of this middle part and then moved it over, and then we sunk it into the artwork or into the Design Spark Mechanical file, and then we went ahead and raised it up a little bit, each one individually, and then we created that fillet there on the outside. Okay, that's going to end today's tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed watching and you got something useful out of this tutorial, and you could pretty much do that with any logo that you like. Try not to make the logos too detailed, because I have had Design Spark Mechanical crash plenty of times trying to take detailed logos from CorelDRAW and bring them into Design Spark. So try to make it a logo that's simple like this. And if it's simple and you want to add fillets or you want to add chamfers to everything, then make sure you create the art in Design Spark Mechanical. If not, then you can go ahead and do it like this and use CorelDRAW. Okay, thanks for watching.